Imagine a disease so ancient that it was killing humans thousands of years before modern medicine even existed. It survived ancient civilizations. It survived crowded Victorian cities. And even after humanity discovered antibiotics, it never completely disappeared. This disease is tuberculosis, TB. But here is the mystery. How far back does tuberculosis really go? And who was the first person to discover what was killing people?
Long before hospitals, antibiotics, or microscopes, humans were already suffering from tuberculosis. Scientists have discovered evidence consistent with tuberculosis in ancient human remains dating back thousands of years. One of the most fascinating clues comes from ancient Egypt. Some Egyptian mummies show bone changes associated with tuberculosis. That means TB was not a disease created by modern cities. It was already following humanity through the ancient world. And there was something terrifying about it. The disease could slowly destroy the lungs and other organs, while the victim became weaker and weaker. There was no known bacterium, no effective antibiotic, and no real understanding of what was happening inside the body.
For centuries, tuberculosis was known by another haunting name: consumption. Why? Because sufferers often appeared to be slowly consumed by the disease. They could lose weight, become extremely weak, develop persistent coughing, and sometimes cough up blood. In Europe, tuberculosis became especially devastating during the 18th and 19th centuries. Rapidly growing cities created crowded living conditions. People lived close together. Ventilation was poor, and the disease could spread from person to person through the air. But doctors still didn't know the real culprit. Some believed TB was hereditary. Others blamed poor air, bad living conditions, or other causes. The true answer was hiding at a microscopic level.
Then came the 19th century. Microscopes were improving. Scientists were beginning to understand that microscopic organisms could cause disease. And in 1882, a German physician named Robert Koch made a discovery that changed medical history. Koch identified the bacterium responsible for tuberculosis. It became known as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. For the first time, scientists had a specific biological enemy. TB was no longer just a mysterious illness. There was a pathogen behind it, and that changed everything. Koch's announcement became one of the landmark moments in the history of infectious disease.
But discovering the enemy didn't mean defeating it. Tuberculosis continued killing enormous numbers of people. Hospitals and sanatoriums became part of the fight. Patients were often sent to places where they could rest, receive fresh air, sunlight, and better nutrition. But doctors still lacked a reliable cure. Then, in the 20th century, the story began to change. In 1921, scientists developed the BCG vaccine, which became an important tool against tuberculosis. And decades later, antibiotics transformed TB treatment. One of the most important breakthroughs was streptomycin, discovered in 1943. For the first time, doctors had an antibiotic that could attack the tuberculosis bacterium. The disease that had haunted humanity for centuries finally had a serious enemy.
You might think this is where the story ends. It isn't. Tuberculosis adapted. Drug-resistant strains emerged, and TB remained a major global health problem. Even today, tuberculosis continues to affect millions of people around the world. That is what makes its history so disturbing. This isn't simply the story of an ancient disease. It's the story of a disease that has repeatedly survived humanity's attempts to eliminate it. From ancient human remains to Egyptian mummies, from Victorian cities to Robert Koch's microscope, tuberculosis has followed humanity through thousands of years of history. We learned its name. We discovered its bacterium.
We developed vaccines. We created antibiotics. And yet, TB is still here. Perhaps that is the most frightening lesson in the history of disease. Sometimes defeating a disease doesn't mean making it disappear. Sometimes it simply means learning how to fight it. This is History of Disease.